Hello, hello there. Welcome, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome to Coffee Time Career Chat. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist who loves working with people who are looking to uplevel their professions, their careers, their businesses, and to do things in a more empowered way and to make sure that they are leveraging their professional relationships to support them in achieving those goals authentically and purposefully. So, welcome to today's episode of Coffee Time Career Chat, where we are talking about gratitude and your network on Wednesdays this month. And this is the second one. We are going to be talking about knowing the needs of your network. So the first time we talked about, how many ways to say thanks, right? And how it's so important to acknowledge your professional relationships and saying thank you to them. Now we're going to start digging a little deeper about how to do that, right? To not just be at the surface level of showing appreciation, because guess what? When you show appreciation for your network and you do so at a deeper level, you are now further strengthening those relationships for the long term. So you serve, it serves two purposes, right? Being thankful, showing gratitude can serve an additional purpose of also strengthening that relationship for the future. So today, as we talk about knowing the needs of your network, it really reminds me of how, especially we're at the holiday times, right? And people are like, how many more ties and socks can you get, or pies and candy cane, right? And here's the thing, those are all just fine, because it is true that the thought does count for something. If someone's thinking enough of you to buy that tie or that pair of socks, or to send you that pie and that candy cane, yes, it does mean something. But if you're getting ties and socks and you really need a pair of shoes, or if you're getting pies and candy cane and you really need a plate of food, guess what? It's next level when someone knows that. How can someone know that you need something more than the surface level tie and socks, and maybe you need the pair of shoes, or more than the pie and candy canes, you really need a plate of food? Well, that means they have to have done a little bit more work in order to get to that. And that's what we're talking about today, because this is how you can truly make a sustained impact with your network, with your professional relationships, and to do so and solidify them for the weeks, months, and years to come. Right. So this reminds me of my masterclass that I hosted over the course of the pandemic. So many times, it was my most requested masterclass during that time. And it was called Maintaining and Building Your Professional Relationships or Your Network in a Crisis. Obviously, because people were locked down, they weren't able to engage with people. And quite frankly, because you weren't seeing people in person, it seemed to make it even more difficult to connect with folks. And people didn't know how to do that naturally, right? So it became one of my most asked for master classes over the last 2-3 years. And I still get asked to do it because the content is still relevant. Here's why. When you are looking to maintain and build your professional relationships, whether it's in a crisis or not, there are a few key things that just matter and have to be done. You have to be willing to focus on others first, and you can't make assumptions about what they need. That is the foundation of that, maintaining those relationships in a crisis. And guess what? It is the foundation for building on and showing gratitude to your network today and moving forward. You have to be willing to focus on others first, and you can't make assumptions about what they need. So if you're doing that, then how do you move past that, right? That means you have to be willing to have real conversations, real engagement, and to do the follow-up that's going to help you help them. Okay, so let's break that down. What does that look like? So when you are focusing on others first and not making assumptions about what they need, and you are trying to learn what they need, you have to be willing to ask questions, right? And not just surface level questions of, hey, how are you doing today? Where you can get the generic, oh, I'm doing great, or whatever. You have to be willing to ask better questions up front, right? So if you're going to ask a better question, what does that look like? Well, it means you have to give some thought to it ahead of time, not try to do it on spur of the moment. So if you have 2 or 3 questions that you can have at the ready when you are engaging with your network and you're wanting to know how you can better serve them, one of the things classic is, what's your greatest challenge right now, right? If you're asking someone what's their challenge right now, that will elicit more than a yes or no answer. This is the thing. The trick to good questions is developing a question that elicits more than a yes or a no, or oh, things are fine. No, you want more depth. It's going to require someone to pause and actually say, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Let me think about this, right? So one of those is, what's your challenge, right? What's your current challenge? Or, what do you need right now, right? You actually ask them, what do they need? Because most people don't get asked that, right? The other one is, how can I help you? How can I help you best right now, right? How can I help you achieve your next goal? Do whatever variation on that you want. But if you ask any one of those 3 questions, it should get you a little bit further. And it'll get you a lot further because, number 1, most people don't get asked that question. Number 2, it's going to require them to think, and you're going to get a real answer. Even if the answer is, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. Let me think about that. Guess what? That's an opportunity to say, great, I will follow up with you to see what your answer is, because I really want to be able to tap in and support you. Okay. So if you're doing that, so it's ask the better question. That's the first thing, right? You want to show gratitude and know the needs of your people. Ask the better question. The second thing is you have to be willing to listen. This is hard because there are those of us, we like to talk and we're half listening or whatever, or you're anticipating an answer. And so you're preparing a response to what you think you're going to hear. That's not listening. Active listening is meaning you ask a question or whatever, and then you sit and be quiet and let them answer. A lot of times we are not comfortable sitting in silence. Most people are not comfortable with that heavy, what do you call it? The pregnant pause, right? So you're trying to fill that space. Don't fill it. When it's time for you to engage in active listening with your network and your professional relationships, you want to welcome the pregnant pause. Because it's in that moment that you're allowing them to know a couple of things. Number 1, that you are really listening and that you are ready to receive their answer. So don't try to fill the space. Don't try and fill the whatever because you're uncomfortable. If it's uncomfortable, let it sit there. It's not because you're challenging or whatever. It's because, hey, I'm here to help you. Tell me how I can help you. I want to say thank you. This is my way of saying thank you. How can I help you? Okay. So you want to make sure you're actually listening. And one of the tricks about actively listening is when you are repeating back to someone what they've said. So you're in the, you've asked a question, they've provided some answer, and you're saying, okay, so I think I heard this. And then you repeat what you think you heard from them. And that gives them an opportunity to confirm or to say, well, yeah, but not quite that, a little bit more. Again, what's happening? You're doing this engagement that allows you to get an answer at a deeper level. And the answer that you get at that deeper level allows you to be more targeted, to be more specific about how you can engage with them and how you can show your appreciation when you respond. All right. Now, I am not the communications expert. Like I've done some trainings. I've worked with people who this is their area of expertise and all of that. So there's plenty out there about that. You can Google, or I can find you an expert when it comes to this communication tool. But it really can be that simple. The simplest thing is ask the question and then shut up. That was a little rough, but I'm like, it's true. Most of the time, we just need to be quiet and be ready to listen, to take in, and then literally to regurgitate back so that we can say, hey, I think I heard this. Is that correct? Okay. So that's the second thing, is you want to make sure you're engaged, you're listening to what they offer up, and to do so in a very active manner. And the last thing that you want to do when you want to make sure you know the needs of your network is you have to be willing and able to share, right? You have to know who it is that, how they're helping them, and then who it's best to share that information with. So you want to do a couple of things. You want to verify with them that it's okay. All right. You say, hey, I really want to be able to serve you right now and to help you. Is it okay if I share this with some folks? Or, or do you have limitations on how you want me to share this information or whatever? And it's, different things. Sometimes maybe it's like, yeah, share, but don't put my name on it. I'm just really curious about getting some feedback. Or, yes, I would love it. But here's the thing. It's all in how, because you're listening to them and you are being really specific and targeted about what it is you're going to help them with, that helps then to say, hey, I think I may have a couple of people that would be interested in your service. Or I may have a couple of people that I could, that could be additional, connections or contacts for you with regard to this project. Can I share this with them? Or do you want me to make, how do you want me to, connect you guys? All right. But that active sharing, that engaging them, asking permission, and then doing it, because, y'all know I'm always about the follow up. Hello. It's always about the follow up. I know. We all have hard times about this, but it's the reality. Okay. So that said, you want to be able to share out, but you have to have something to share, which means you've got to dig deeper, and then to make sure you solidify and really focus in if it's on one thing or if it's a couple of things. Most often, it's always going to be more effective if you can connect up on one thing with them, because you can be really focused, as opposed to, oh, Patricia says she can probably use a few people to do X, Y, and Z, and it's very general. But when you're real specific of, you know what, she's looking to gain some new VIP one-on-one clients and who are in X space, that you see how much more specific that is. Right. And especially if you know the rationale for it, right? This is like, hey, she's looking forward to building out a new high level, group program in the future, and expanding her one-on-one services for longer commitments. When you learn that from talking to people, that's what makes it shareable. Okay. So you want to collect shareable information, not just information, but goals, experiences. Okay. Because information is one thing, but when you say, hey, this is the information, but it's because they're trying to achieve X goal, they're trying to do this next thing, that makes it really super valuable. Okay. So collect that shareable information that can feed those goals and experiences. We're going to see that again. I love that. Collect shareable information that feeds their goals and experiences. Okay. And that will help you to say thank you in a very genuine way, show your appreciation, show your gratitude for them. And you're also building that relationship forward into the future. Because someone can say, wow, I can't believe Patricia did that. That was so great. And what happens? Things circle back around, right? But this is when you're doing these things in a very authentic and purposeful way, not because you're like, I'm just going to do this so I can get. You do it if you give it off in the wrong energy, it's going to come back to you in the wrong energy. So I am not a fan of that, right? Tit for tat and just do this because I'm expecting you to do this in return. No. Anyone who knows me knows that is not what I teach. That is not the relationship building mechanism that I utilize or format. So that is not it. If that's the energy in which you want to put something out there, this is not the space for you. However, if you are looking to show support for those in your professional relationships, in your professional networks, and to build them forward for long-term sustainable growth, this is what we're talking about here. Okay, this is how we work through that. So what is it that you need to do in order to maintain and build your professional relationships forward, not just for the remainder of this year, but into the new year? That's my question for you. And I invite you to do some reflection work, to sit down, think through that. And if you need more, then let's get on a call. Let's do a consult, figure out what that looks like for you so that we can get you set up for where you need to be in the coming year. Okay. So that's it, you guys. We're showing gratitude. We are working with our relationships in order to do that. We've been talking about knowing the needs of your network and how important it is to ask a better question, to engage in active listening, and then to collect shareable information. And when we do that, then we can better serve our professional relationships today and in the future. That's it. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you, and make sure you click share and share this out with your people. Okay. Have a fantastic rest of your week, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.